Hello students, in the last lecture we studied the motion in a magnetic field. We have studied that when a charged particle moving with a velocity v enters a magnetic field perpendicular to it, it performs a circular motion and the force acting on it was perpendicular to the velocity as well to the magnetic field. Now, when it was performing a circular motion, the force was always directed towards the center. And we also came to the conclusion that F is perpendicular to V, so no work is been done on the charged particle. It moves in a circular path with a constant speed and there is no transfer of energy. And the diagram in which we have taken the magnetic field going into the plane of the paper, or in this case you can say going into the plane of the board. That is, the magnetic field is say example it is along negative z axis, and when the particle enter perpendicular to it, that is along the x axis, it performed the circular motion. And at any instant we found that the force, say the Lorentz force, or you can say the magnetic force, was perpendicular and it was directed towards the center. The velocity at any instant was along the tangent of the circular path. So this was the direction of the force which is towards the center. So this was the conclusion we arrived in this topic. Now, since F and V are perpendicular to each other and the particle or a charged particle, say, is performing a circular motion, the centripetal force is acting on it. Now here this centripetal force is provided by the magnetic force. Now the formula for the magnetic force was F is equal to Q V cross B. Now angle between V and B is 90 degree. B is going inward, that is, for example, we have taken negative z axis and V is taken along the x axis. So sin 90 is 1 and the magnitude of force comes out to be QVB. So this is the maximum force acting on the charged particle. So whenever a charged particle enters perpendicular to the magnetic field, the force acting on it is maximum, and it is zero when it enters parallel or anti-parallel to the magnetic field. This magnetic force is equal to the centripetal force. So the necessary centripetal force is provided by the magnetic force, that is mv square upon r. So let us determine the radius of this circular path. So the trajectory is circular. Now we are going to find the formula for the radius of the circular path. So mv square upon r, that is centripetal force, is equal to the magnetic force, that is QVB, and therefore this one V is cancelled. So R is equal to mv upon QB. So this is the formula for the radius of the circular path. Now mass into velocity is momentum. It means as momentum changes, the radius will change, or you can say as the momentum will increase, the radius will also increase. So we should keep this concept in mind, that whenever a charged particle is performing a circular motion in a magnetic field, if its momentum will increase, then the radius will also increase. We will discuss about this in the coming topic. So R is equal to mv upon qb. Now, since the body is performing a circular motion, let us derive the formula for omega, that is the angular frequency, or you can say angular velocity, periodic time, and the frequency. We know that V is equal to R omega. Therefore, omega is equal to V upon R. So that is equal to R is mv upon qb. So V upon mv qb, this Vv is cancelled. So omega comes out to be qb upon R. That is the angular frequency, or you can say angular velocity. So if you see this, we have the term that is, we have omega is equal to V by R. So we have R and M is left. So omega is equal to QB upon MR. That is the formula for our omega. That is V is equal to R omega. Now let us come to the point. Now here omega is equal to V upon R. So it is Q by M only, not R. So if we see this angular velocity or omega, we find that omega is independent of the linear speed, or omega remains constant. Q, that is a charge of a particle, say proton. So E, B is constant, and the mass of the particle, this R was replaced by mv by qb, so it is qb by. So this is angular frequency. Now this implies angular frequency can be written as 2 pi f, which is say denoted by nu, it is a frequency, into qb by m. Therefore frequency nu is equal to qb upon 2 pi n. So this is an expression for the frequency, and if we want to find out the time period, that is the time taken to complete one rotation, then it is the reciprocal of the frequency 1 by nu, that is equal to 2 pi m by qb. And in all this expression, one thing is clear, that whether we talk about the frequency or periodic time or omega, that is nu, is independent of linear speed, or you can say it is independent of energy also, because the no work is done when the particle is moving in a circular path. So you have to remember, if we increase the momentum, the R should increase, or R will increase, and the periodic time will be independent. Periodic time means the time taken to complete the one rotation. So there may be a situation that when we try to change the momentum, the radius will increase, but the periodic time will remain constant, or the frequency will remain constant. So this is how, when the particle enter perpendicular to the magnetic field, we have a expression, different expression for it. Now it may be possible, we have discussed that if the particle enter parallel or anti-parallel, then the force is zero, the magnetic force is zero. That is, particle will pass through the magnetic field undeflected. So if it enters, or if it is moving, its original path is a straight line, it will be undeflected and it will keep on moving along a straight line if it enters parallel or anti-parallel to magnetic field. And if it enters perpendicular to the magnetic field, this is the situation. Now let us come to a situation where the particle will enter making an angle theta with the magnetic field. Now let us say what will be its trajectory. Now consider a situation where the particle is entering in a magnetic field making an angle theta. So for simplicity, let us take the magnetic field along the x-axis. Let this be your y-axis and this is the z-axis. So the magnetic field is uniform along the x-axis. These are the expression for a uniform circular motion. Now the particle will enter making an angle theta. So we assume that B is uniform and along x-axis. Now let us assume that a particle, charged particle, say a positive charged particle Q, enters in the magnetic field with a velocity v making an angle theta. So suppose it makes an angle theta. So this is a situation where the magnetic field is one dimensional but the velocity is entering in a plane, xy plane, that is a two-dimensional. So when any quantity, a vector quantity is two-dimensional, you have to resolve it. So we have to resolve this velocity into the two components. So if we resolve it, we will get two component. Let us name this component as V parallel because it is along the axis of the magnetic field, and the formula will become V cos theta. So V is the magnitude or the speed. So V is the speed. Now when we resolve V vector into its component, when we resolve V vector into its component, number one, V parallel, we call it a parallel component, that is parallel component of V vector, and its formula should be V cos theta. So it comes out along x-axis or in the direction of the B. Resolving this, its perpendicular component, that is we denote it by V perpendicular symbol, that is equal to V sin theta. So second component, we use the symbol of perpendicular, that will be referred as perpendicular component of V vector, that is equal to V sin theta. So now we have a two component in this. One is parallel to B vector and one is perpendicular to the B vector. Now we deal these two components separately as we used to deal in a projectile motion. So if you remember a projectile motion, a body was projected from the origin and it was performing a parabolic path. Though here it will not perform a parabolic path, there the situation was different. The body was moving, its x component of acceleration was 0 and it was moving under the vertical component of acceleration. But it was making an angle theta. So similarly here the particle entered making an angle theta with B vector, so we have to resolve it. Now we have two component, V cos theta and V sin theta. Now if we see this formula, that is the formula of a Lorentz force, or you can say a formula for a magnetic force. If B is perpendicular to B, then the particle perform a circular motion. It means here the particle will try to perform a circular path due to the component V perpendicular. So V sin theta will make the particle to move in a circular path, and V parallel V cos theta, the component is V cos theta. Now the angle between V cos theta and B is 0 degree. So no magnetic force is acting along this direction, but this component will make the particle to move along the linear path, because we have one component v cos theta, that is velocity is along the x-axis also. So this speed or the velocity will make the particle to move along the x-axis. So there will be a two situation. The perpendicular component will try to make a particle perform a circular motion, and at the same time, at the same instant, the parallel component will make the particle to travel linearly. So in this situation, what happens? The particle will perform the helical path. This such path is called as a helical path, and this shape is been referred as helix. So what is the conclusion? If the particle enter making an angle theta with the b vector, the path is helical, or the shape will be referred as helix. So it is moving in a circular path due to the perpendicular component, and it is performing a linear motion due to the parallel component. So at any instant, I can draw the diagram. Suppose this is the instant, we will be along the tangent. So again, it will have two component, v parallel and v perpendicular. So this v perpendicular make the particle to perform a circular motion, and at the same instant, v cos theta will displace it along the axis of the magnetic field. It means the path is helical. So we come to the conclusion here. V perpendicular makes particle to perform or to move along circular path, and at same instant v parallel makes particle to move along the axis of b vector. Hence, the path is helical. So you have to remember now this path is helical, and it is called helix. So this is the conclusion. Now we have discussed all the situation. If the particle enter parallel, undeflected, so if it is moving in a straight line, it will move on straight line. Anti-parallel, no deflection, 90-degree circular motion, at any angle it will perform a helical, or the shape will be helix. Again, this is the radius of the circular path. This is the radius of the circular path. Now we have to determine the radius. So this circular path is due to the perpendicular component. So again, in our formula, we will use the symbol separately. We will deal with the perpendicular component and the parallel component. So here we have written R is equal to mv upon qb. That is, again, the necessary centripetal force is provided by the magnetic force. But now here the magnetic force or the v vector have two components. So the magnetic force perpendicular component will provide the necessary centripetal force. So in this situation, here the radius of helix formula R becomes m. In the place of v, we simply write v sine theta upon qb, or you can remember like this, m perpendicular component upon qb. You remember this is a theta angle between v vector and the b vector. So this is the formula now. So what we will do in this situation, wherever we have written v, in that place we will write v sin theta. So this is the situation. For other formula, see, these three are independent of v. So omega, it will not change. Periodic time or the frequency will not change. So same omega can be written as qb upon m. Again, periodic time or frequency, you can write the same thing because it was independent of the linear speed or a velocity, or you can say it is independent of the energy. So this is the situation where the particle is performing helical path. Now this we have discussed only the perpendicular component of v vector. Now let us see the parallel component of v vector. Now what the parallel component will do? It is making the particle to move along the circular path. So there will be a linear displacement also. So there will be a linear displacement or a linear distance will be given. Now the distance between these two helix, or you can say two consecutive circular path, this linear distance in the direction of the magnetic field for one complete rotation. So when the particle perform one complete rotation, it will, say, suppose I take this instant, this is one rotation is over, then it will move forward, again it will move forward. So we have a linear distance of a particle in the direction of the B after one complete rotation. So that physical quantity is been referred as the pitch. So we defined a new physical quantity which will be referred as pitch. So this is called as pitch, generally denoted by small p. This is the distance, linear distance moved by a particle after one complete rotation. So the linear distance traveled by particle in the direction of magnetic field in one rotation, in the direction of magnetic field in one rotation is called pitch. That is, generally we are denoting it by a small p. So this is a pitch. This is one complete rotation of a particle. So after one complete rotation, it will move forward. So in periodic time, capital T, the linear displacement is called pitch. Now what will be the formula for a pitch? It is a distance. So pitch is equal to speed. Now the speed or the velocity has two components. Now which component is responsible? V parallel. So we have a formula, V parallel multiply by T, that is distance is equal to speed into time. And if you remember, in the projectile motion also the range was taken as the cos component into the total time taken by a particle to come back to the surface of the earth. So there also the formula was similar. Here also we have written v cos theta, and there we have written the total time for which the particle remain in air or the particle come back to its original position or on the surface of the earth. So again, distance is equal to speed into time. In the place of a speed, we write a parallel component, that is v cos theta. So the pitch formula, now you have to remember this path is called, such path is called as a helical path. So now pitch is equal to v parallel into t. So V parallel can be written as V cos theta, and the periodic time is given by 2 pi m upon QB. So this is another important physical quantity that is called as pitch, that is the linear distance along the direction of the magnetic field after one complete rotation, and we call it a pitch. In the place of V parallel we can write V cos theta. Now this radius was given by mv sin theta. So in theory of the circular motion in the helical path, you have to remember wherever we have written V, these three are independent of V. So in the place of V, we write V sin theta, that is sine component is responsible for the circular motion, and the parallel component is responsible for the linear displacement or a linear motion, and therefore we define a linear distance traveled by a particle in the direction of the magnetic field in one rotation is called as pitch, that is distance is equal to speed into time. So this is all we have for a motion of a charged particle in the magnetic field. We have discussed all the cases when theta is 0, when theta is 180, when theta is 90, and when theta have any value. So this is how whenever a charged particle enters a magnetic field, it will have different trajectory. If the electric field is also present, then the resultant force is called as the Lorentz force. And sometime when we are not taking any electric field, we assume that the electric field is 0, then the magnetic force we refer sometime in our lecture as a Lorentz force. So in the coming lecture we will deal with the numericals related to this topic. Have a nice day.